Did you know that an African army decisively defeated a European colonial power in the 19th century, preserving its sovereignty? This is just one of the many forgotten battles that shaped the continent. Today, we delve into the heart of African military history, exploring the clashes that defined empires, resisted colonialism, and forged new nations. Our journey begins in the rugged terrain of Ethiopia, at the Battle of Odwa. In 1896, Emperor Menelik II and Empress Tetubotu led a massive Ethiopian force against a significantly smaller Italian colonial army. Estimates suggest over 100,000 Ethiopians faced around 20,000 Italians and Eritrean Askaris. The outcome was a stunning Ethiopian victory, a rare instance in the late 19th century where an African army routed a European invader, ensuring Ethiopia remained independent. Shifting continents, we arrive at the Battle of Omdurman in Sudan, 1898. Here, the story is starkly different. Major General Sahabat Kitchener commanded Anglo-Egyptian forces, numbering around 26,000, against the Modest Sudanese, who boasted a force of over 50,000. The Modest, armed largely with traditional weapons, faced the devastating firepower of modern machine guns and artillery. The result was a decisive victory for the Anglo-Egyptian forces, re-establishing their control over Sudan. Casualties were staggering, with over 10,000 Modists killed or wounded, compared to a few hundred Anglo-Egyptian losses. Now, let's travel south to Isandlwana, in present-day South Africa. On January 22, 1879, the Zulu kingdom, under King Sethwell Kompand, inflicted one of the worst defeats ever suffered by the British Army against an African force. Around 20,000 to 25,000 Zulu warriors overwhelmed approximately 1,800 British and colonial troops. The British suffered around 1,300 fatalities, a shocking loss that reverberated across the empire. However, the Zulu victory at Isandlwana was quickly overshadowed by the events at Rorke's Drift, which occurred on the same days. A small British garrison of about 150 soldiers successfully defended their mission station against a force of 3,000 to 4,000 Zulu warriors. This heroic defense, though strategically less significant than Isandlwana, became a powerful symbol of British military resilience and was heavily mythologized. Before Isandlwana and Rorke's Drift, further south on the Eastern Cape frontier, another battle took place between the Cape Colony forces and Xhosa forces. The Battle of Nkelsibi on September 13, 1877 was one of the many frontier wars that played a part in the reshaping of Southern African political control. Now, we journey back to the Horn of Africa, specifically near Lake Tana in Ethiopia. The Battle of Wena Doga, in 1543, marked a turning point in the Ethiopian-Oda War. An Ethiopian-Portuguese alliance confronted the forces of Imam Ahmad Ibn Ibrahim Al-Ghazi, also known as Ahmed Grang, the leader of the Odo Sultanate. The battle resulted in Imam Ahmad's death and the collapse of his campaign, significantly altering the balance of power in the region. Prior to Wena Doga, there was the Battle of Shimbra-Kure in 1529. It was one of the early major clashes in the Ethiopian-Oda War that altered the balance of power in the Horn. It helped set the scene for many of the battles to come. Not all African conflicts occurred on African soil. The Battle of Dio, a naval battle fought in the Indian Ocean, had significant implications for East Africa. Portuguese naval expansion in the 16th century impacted East African trade cities like Mogadishu, Mombasa, Kilwa, and paid through raids, blockades, and shifting alliances. Now, let's cross the continent to West Africa, to the site of the Battle of Tondebai. In 1591, near Gao, in the Songhai Empire, Moroccan forces decisively defeated the Songhai army. Askia Ishaq II led a Songhai force estimated at 25,000 to 40,000 against Judah Pasha's Moroccan expeditionary force of only 4,000 to 5,000. The Moroccan victory led to the collapse of the Songhai Empire, a major imperial power in West Africa. Going further back in time, we arrive at the Battle of Karina, traditionally dated to 1235. Here, near Kangaba, in present-day Mali, Sundiata Keita and his allied Monde forces clashed with Sumaro Kante of the Soso Kingdom. Sondiota's victory in this battle is seen as foundational to the rise of the Mali Empire, one of the most significant empires in West African history. The city of Djenné, a strategic trading hub in Mali, was central to several sieges and conflicts due to its strategic location. Control of trade routes and river traffic was often more important than territorial control alone. Let's now cross to North Africa, to Egypt, where we find the Great Pyramid standing witness to another clash. At the Battle of the Pyramids in 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte's French Revolutionary Army decisively defeated the Mamluk forces, opening the way for the French occupation of Egypt. This victory had far-reaching consequences, reshaping the geopolitics of the Middle East and North Africa. However, the French occupation was short-lived. The Battle of Alexandria in 1801 saw British forces defeat the French, effectively ending the French campaign in Egypt. Moving forward to the 20th century, we arrive at El Alamein, Egypt, the site of two pivotal battles in World War II. The Second Battle of El Alamein, fought from October 23 to November 11, 1942, was a major turning point in the North African campaign. General Bernard Montgomery's British Eighth Army decisively defeated Field Marshal Owen Rommel's German-Italian Panzer Army Africa. The Allied victory came at a cost of roughly 13,000 casualties, while the Axis suffered around 30,000 casualties and many prisoners. The Allied victory at El Alamein significantly reduced the Axis threat in North Africa. Before El Alamein, the Siege of Tobruk, in Libya, lasted from April to November 1941. Commonwealth defenders successfully held out against Axis forces, a logistical and psychological victory that contributed to the eventual Allied triumph. Now, we return to the mid-20th century and focus on African anti-colonial and liberation warfare. The Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, which lasted from 1952 to 1960, was a pivotal moment in the struggle for independence. Mau Mau fighters, primarily drawn from Kikuyu communities, challenged the British colonial state, forcing constitutional changes and contributing to Kenyan independence in 1963. In Algeria, the War of Independence, which raged from 1954 to 1962, was one of the most important decolonization wars in Africa. The National Liberation Front fought against the French Republic, ultimately leading to Algerian independence. The conflict was brutal, with estimates of hundreds of thousands of Algerian deaths. The Angolan War of Independence began in 1961. Africa's military history is a tapestry woven with threads of resistance, conquest, and resilience. These battles, often overlooked in mainstream narratives, reveal the complexities and richness of the continent's past. They remind us that Africa was not simply a passive recipient of colonial forces, but an active participant in shaping its own destiny. Understanding these conflicts is crucial to comprehending the Africa we know today.